All right, here we go. The Browns fall to another one. Really shitty outing. Deshaun Watson goes down for the count with an Achilles tear, and the fans booed the shit out of him. And the players reacted. They were very embarrassed for the Cleveland Browns organization because of how hardcore the fans were about booing the injury of Deshaun Watson. Your thoughts?
So he gets injured. And the fans booed him during the game and booed him in the intro. They cheered when he got injured. And so that was what players and stuff are reacting to. So I understand sticking up for your teammate. I understand all that. I understand, generally you're not going to cheer when a player gets injured generally. You take the high road, even if the guy's a scumbag. But the whole reaction between Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston coming out and suddenly virtue signaling for a guy that should not really be defended. You know what I mean? I mean, you can stick up for your teammate, whatever, but to go as hard as they went in on fans and stuff, it's no, there's a reason that the fans are booing this guy. One, he's terrible on the field. He's been awful. He got paid with $230 million guaranteed. And then two, he's a scumbag on top of it with how many assault lawsuits that he settled out of court. So yeah, I mean, I don't, the whole berating of the fans for cheering when this guy gets injured. The fans have every right to cheer that guy getting injured, and they're the ones that are paying your salaries. They're the ones paying the ticket prices, which you were a season ticket holder for how long? The prices keep going up every year for a horrible product on the field that hasn't really translated. So yeah, they're gonna cheer. One, because he's been so terrible and he's a scumbag of a human being. Two, because now they can actually. My reaction was okay, I'm sorry he got hurt, but I'm happy now that I can actually watch the team and root for the team without having it over the back of this thought in the back of my head I got to root for some scumbag to succeed. So now we can actually see what DTR can do. We can see what Jameis Winston can do. So yeah, I can actually watch the team without feeling guilty about rooting for a sexual predator.
Well, the acid test would be if they would have in the middle of the game benched Deshaun without him getting hurt, the fans would have cheered exactly the same. So my thoughts are that they were not necessarily cheering that he gets injured, and that he was out of the game and potentially not our quarterback anymore.
That was why I was happy. I mean, I'm not happy he got hurt, but that was why he's out of there. Now I can actually watch the team and root for them without having to be this guy that they rearranged the entire offense for that has been terrible. It's not working with him. Clearly, it hasn't been working with him, and so you get tired of and then I think Browns fans at this point, leading into yesterday's game, were totally defeated in the fact that Stefanski kept saying, we're not changing the quarterback. We're stuck with this guy. They're going to just keep trotting this guy out there no matter how bad he is. And so
all that money, they were going to try to make him work.
Yeah, and then so there's no hope from a fan's perspective. So when he gets hurt and he's out, it's yes, now there's hope. We can start rooting for somebody else, and we can see what else we have at least. You know what I mean? So that was my takeaway from it.
Is the rest of the season dead?
Yeah, it's dead. 1-6, you're dead. You know what I mean? So. Jameis Winston probably isn't the long-term answer, but the offense will. I mean, we saw last year with Stefanski that he could plug pretty much anybody in there at quarterback, and if it goes back to the offense that he wants to run, it'll be productive. So they'll actually look like an offense now at least. But I think they're too far gone this season. 1-6, you're not coming back. It's not like you're suddenly going to make a playoff run at 1-6. You know what I mean? And so, but. We can see what DTR can actually do. Give him a week to prepare. You know what I mean? And it would be. I would almost rather see him start next week than Jameis Winston. Just to let's do a week with DTR, getting first team reps, getting a full practice, getting a full game plan behind him, and then see what Then we'll actually see what he has.
The only reason I wouldn't want that to happen is because our offensive line and our receivers are so bad. We're going to get him killed, and they're going to drop all his passes. So it will not be an indictment against him if he doesn't do well when he can't be protected. I want to see what he has when you have a good offensive line and people catch your passes. I think he's good enough to be a second stringer. I agree with you guys that he's probably not a starter anywhere, but he would be a competent backup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that offensive line has serious issues, and I know we've said this before. that Bill Callahan leaving was a much bigger deal than anybody gave it when it happened, because that, again, last year there was a lot of injuries on the offensive line last year, but they just kept plugging in new people, and whatever he was doing or however he was coaching those guys, they came in and they weren't bad. Like, I mean, there might have been a little bit of drop off here and there, but like they were still, the running game was still good. You know, Joe Flacco still had time back there, was carving people up. So, yeah, that's a good point about DTR just getting killed, because there was one clip. It wasn't DeJuan Jones. Somebody else in the offensive line where literally the guy just ran right past.
I saw that. Yeah. Like, what do I do? You were getting him? Oh, I was supposed to get him.
Oh. So yeah, that
okay. So other teams, when they blow their assignment, they'll at least hold so your quarterback doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
Our guys just watch it happen. Like that. I was supposed to do something.
They just let him go, man. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, boy. But the Browns right now too. Like, just the penalties. My God, the penalties. Like, this should not be happening. 7 games into, you shouldn't be happening at all, but you're 7 games into the year, and it's just like every time there's a flag, well, that's on the Browns. Yep, that's on the Browns. Yep, that's on the Browns. Just the discipline with this team is just not there, and everybody, like, the body language. Jerry Jeudy's hurling his helmet up against when he comes off, like, just the pouting you see from everybody on the sidelines. It's all around bad.
The morale
right now.
is dead.
The morale is totally dead. Yeah.
And I think the most embarrassing seasons that we had is that when we were pitiful and we were frustrated, and then every penalty we thought was like us getting ganged up on. It was always like, oh, that penalty, every penalty, bullshit, every penalty is bull. I'm like, man, you were in the position. If the penalties are what's winning or losing your games, you're in big trouble.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's all kinds of wrong for the Browns this year. I don't know what you salvage out of this season other than trying to get a few wins, and almost at this point, you almost would rather just tank it just to get a higher draft pick, or, you know, maybe look at another quarterback in the draft next year. You know, they're talking about. They said Watson's going to make a full recovery. I don't want him to make a full recovery. I mean,
he's bought and paid for. Like, even if you have him be your number 2, like.
No.
Would it be a shitter if that one quarterback that what the heck was his name? He was a controversial one. Did the kneeling?
They're not bringing him
would
back.
that be if we wanted a shit show that had a crown on it? That would be it.
Colin Kaepernick. No,
yes. Do it. I want to see shit show.
Somebody put a fork in. Like, every year they bring him up. It's like, dude, he's been gone for like 7 years now. Like, can we end it? Like, and they made such a big deal about a team's not signing. I'm like, oh, he's getting blackballed. No, he's not good enough to be signed by anybody. Like, he was terrible toward the end. It's like, yeah, no, and he's not worth the headache to bring in to be your 3rd string quarterback.
Right. I can't find it, but I can't think of one quarterback that would be worth a pursuit. I really can't. I don't even know who they're going to put in there. I don't know who would take the job. I mean, they come to you and you got the worst offensive line. How much money are you going to have to give them to say yes to that question?
They're going to sign somebody, obviously, this week, because, yeah, what is DTR, his finger hurt? Is he out again this week? So he's out for at least a week. So, yeah, they're going to have to – yeah, you're right. They're going to have to sign 2 quarterbacks, and I don't know who's out there signed. I mean, somebody else sitting on the couch like Joe Flacco was. They could come in and I don't know if there's anybody else out there like that he has that sort of pedigree, though, in free agency, or they'd be with a team already. So, yeah, it's not looking good. Another wash for the Browns.
This is the official Browns funeral procession. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.